All right, welcome back. We're now going to work on a few more Illustrator tips and tricks. So we're going to be working on our first set of digital roughs coming up, and a couple things I want us to think about. First off, when we're working on our word marks and such, we're going to be working in a square ultimately. So all of these logos marks are going to go into a square. So it can be helpful to be looking at our designs in a square and how they might be functioning as we get going, and thinking about, okay, how is this going to lay out in the squares? When I'm thinking about like how I want to balance this, how do I want it to feel? You know, I might play around with it, you know, in the square as well. So you can build your squares in here and put your work in there as well. It's something to consider as we go about this. Pull that out for the moment. I asked you to bring your sketches in. So one of the things that, do many of you work in layers? How many of us work right now using layers? A couple hands I'm seeing up. Okay, a couple little. What I recommend is taking and pulling in a layer, creating a new layer that we call sketches. And create that layer and bringing our sketches in. And then when you have your sketches in, and let's say for me, it's going to be, this is my sketch. Let's pretend that it is right here. And then you can lock it so you don't move it, and you can draw right over it. You can also shut it off when you don't want it. I think I'll bring someone's sketch in just so we can show how it might work to use a sketch. Let's get on to our mural. Okay. Dania, since I had your mural board up, do you mind if I use one of your sketches?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay. Let's see, can I export? I think I took your whole board, but that's all right. You can download your whole board. So I don't want, let me hold on. I'm going to do it a different way. Take this off. Let's try it again. I'm placing your board. So I hit place. It's coming in, loading into my, I'm just going to, there. So here's the board. I know I only want this one section. I'm going to zoom up the section I want. And have any of you made a clipping path? Are you familiar with making clipping paths? Okay. So what I did is I brought in her whole board, but I don't want all this board. I just want to focus on one of these sketches. So I'm going to just select the area I want. I'm holding my shift key down. I'm selecting my selection tool, selecting the whole picture, plus the box I just drew around the one sketch I want. And I'm going up to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. So now I can just focus in on the one part of the board that I really want to look at. So it lets you just clip out everything else and just have that one space. So now I have on my sketches, and you can see on my layers here, I have the sketch on my layer. So now I'm going to lock it. So now I can't accidentally, you know, select it or move it or anything. So now I have the design that I want to play with. And I'm going to use the pen tool. I'm going to create a new layer, which is going to be my art layer. And first, well, before I do the pen tool, I'm going to get my typeface out first. Oops. And I know we're only using Helvetica, so I'm going to just do my word. Is the O, is the pineapple an O? I think it is, right?
No, it's A.
It's an A. Okay, that might be a problem. We'll have to talk about that. H-I-A-W-A. Okay. Let me get this in Helvetica. W-A-H-I-A-W-A. Okay. All right, so like I did before, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of kerning. Can anyone tell me? This is a tricky word to kern. Anyone tell me what they see of where I should maybe kern? What should I do? I'm going to zoom in a little bigger so you can see it. Move these boxes out of the way.
I think W and A is too far.
You are right, exactly. The W and the A are too far. So I'm going to select the W. I'm holding my Shift and Command key down, and I'm selecting my left bracket. And that's allowing me to just click and pull it in. Let's take a look. Yeah, that feels better to me. What do you think? I'm also going to say, I think this H and I feel a little too far. So just do a little bit there. And then maybe this W and A. A little bit more. All right, how does that feel for you?
And that the middle of the A is far from W.
This middle A, this one?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. So then I'm going to take, this is an important step. What do I do next before I start any of my designing? I've kerned my type. Then what do I do? Who can remember from our last tutorial?
Create outline.
That's right. We go up to object. This is a very important step. We go to object, or sorry, type. Gosh, what I keep saying the wrong thing. Type and create outlines. All right, now when I do that, it's all locked together. So the next step I do before I do anything else is I go then up to object and ungroup. So that means now I can select each letter individually to manipulate. Now notice how I'm selecting them with the selection tool and it's creating a box, a bounding box around them. I'm going to zoom in so you can see that. It's creating a bounding box. If I want to edit or manipulate the letter form, I have to use the direct selection tool. The direct selection tool is the white filled triangle. The black filled triangle is the selection tool. So the selection tool just allows you to select the letter all by itself and move it. The direct selection tool, you can see the little corners all pop up. So it lets me do things like, you know, round the letter by just selecting the corner. Do you see that? I can completely manipulate the letter form. I can also grab, oops, not the whole thing. I can also grab the leg. I'm holding my shift key down and edit the length of a leg. I can edit the width. Let's say I wanted to have it to become a point. I could do something like that. So it's letting us do some edits such as that. But what we can see that we're looking at here is that we want to maybe edit some of the things. So here she has a typeface, a letter that's very curved and has a pointed tips. So I think for this one, for me, I'm thinking I might actually curve the letter a little bit. And then think about, I wonder, there's 2 points there. You know, if, I'm gonna look and see what's happening here. You know, if I want to play with using, these are the bezining handles I'm using. I'm selecting the point and then adjusting the handle to get the curves and things I might want. So I've rounded the edges. I might add some, you know, manipulation to the shape. This is pretty manipulated. I don't know, we might wait and later at point and find a typeface that is more circular or more script-like to make this work more sufficiently. But for now, that'll be fine. The next thing she has is a pineapple. So what I might do is go back to the computer, and I think I'm gonna Google and get myself a picture of a pineapple and bring that picture. Oh, that was not readable. Hold on a second. Let me get one that's readable. There we go. What if I do sometimes just go Command-Shift-4 and take a screenshot? Okay, so there's the pineapple I need.
I like that there's only one left in stock.
Oh, only one pineapple. Save my pineapple. Desktop. Save. Okay. Grab that now. Here it is. I'm going to put this on my sketch layer. Wait. Oh, it's isolating that for me. I'm going to take it off. I'm in isolation mode. Hold on a minute. Let's go on to unlock my sketches. I'm selecting my layer of sketches and I'm pasting it on my sketch layer. Okay, so here's my pineapple. I'm gonna lock that. I'm gonna go back up to my art layer. Make sure you're aware of what layers you're on. Now, a couple of things. I'm moving around the board. I should tell you how I'm doing that. So I'm using the command plus and minus. So if you want to navigate around your artboard, command or what is the key for PC is Alt, I believe, right? For my PC.
Control.
Control. Okay, thank you. So control and then plus lets me zoom in, minus zooms out. Space bar, when I hold the space bar down, the hand shows up and it allows me to move around the artboard. So you're holding the space bar down, a little hand shows up, and then I can just move the artboard where I need it. Now, what I would do if I needed to add a pineapple is I would start here. I'm on my art layer. I've locked the pineapple on my sketches layer, so it's not going to move around. And I'm going to take the pen tool and I'm going to literally just trace. Now, I gave you guys in Slack last week a little exercise to help you learn how to use the pen tool, tips and tricks. I really recommend doing that. What I'm doing is tracing this by clicking and then pulling out the handle. See, when I go back to that same dot, this little V shows up. Click that again, that gives me a corner. Clicking, pulling my handle to get a little curve, clicking, clicking, clicking. Come here, clicking, pulling the handle to get a curve. Now I came back to that and a little V shows up, that's giving me a corner. Clicking and pulling to get a curve. Click, corner. Click, curve. Because for this icon, we just really want to make a silhouette. So it doesn't have to be completely perfect. But you do want to have the curves smooth so it feels like the type of leaves that a pineapple would have. And this takes a while to get comfortable using these bezzaning handles because they're not very intuitive. I recommend always doing this with a mouse. Does everyone have a mouse? I hope no one's using just a trackpad. Make sure whenever you're drawing on Illustrator, you're always using a mouse. It gives you so much more control than you'll have with a trackpad. You just don't have as much control. Now I could zoom in and I can get this a little clearer. I do want it to be a little bumpy. I'm trying to purposely give it a more organic, bumpy feel. I'm not worried about being too accurate because again, the goal here is just to give it that natural, bumpy, organic shape. So I'm not using the bezzaning handles here at all. I want it to be more straight edged. Wait, did I switch to scissors? I didn't mean to. What did I just do? I jumped off the pen tool on accident. I think I hit something. Hold on a minute. What did I do? How did I get off my pen tool? I was on it. There it is. I think I just hit something with my left hand on it. Oh, there it is. Oh, shoot. I got distracted. Let's see. Okay, so I'm reselecting. I accidentally hit the wrong tool. So I'm just going to click off the other tool. I'm going to go back. And so you can see I've grabbed the pen tool again. I'm coming to the last point I made. And then I can now just continue. Now I'm not seeing what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn off the fill and just make it an outline right now so I can see what I'm doing. Again, I'm using this space bar to move around my canvas as I go. Has anyone tried playing the pen tool game that I posted on Slack last week? All right. And I'm just gonna go, because just for time's sake, I'm gonna like stop being so perfect and just go a little rougher on this side, just so we can keep moving on. No, it's super. There we go. Okay, so here's our whole shape. So there's my pineapple. Now I'm going to just I'm going to turn my sketch layer off for a minute. I'm going to go to my direct selection tool. I'm on my art layer. And my work here is selected. I'm going to fill it. So there's my pineapple. So when I go back to the sketch layer, and we're talking about making the A the pineapple. Oops, wrong way. Let's look at some options we have. How do we make our A look like a pineapple? Turn the sketches off. And now I'm going to take and make this a color just so I can separate it and see what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is put this object, arrange, send it to the back. And I'm doing that so I can just see it overlaying the A. And so I have a few different ideas. So we have there's a couple ways we could do this. We could leave the pineapple silhouette. The way the sketch was is the letter was being replaced and it was just a pineapple there. But my worry is that, will we read it as a pineapple? What could we do to the pineapple to make it read better as an A? Or would it make sense to somehow combine these two? What do you think, Danya? What would you want to try?
Combining these two.
Okay, so if we look at Pathfinder again, so we have our two objects. I'm going to do a couple things though before I do anything, because I've spent so much time drawing my pineapple, I don't want to lose it. I'm going to go ahead and hold the Shift, Option, Command, and duplicate my pineapple. So I have my pineapple there. I'm also going to duplicate my whole word here. So I'm going to move my pineapple out of the way. I'm going to put pineapple up here. I take and duplicate my whole word before I do something to it. So I have a backup. So start off by duplicating, and that's holding the Shift Command Option, or you can select the whole thing and do Command C, Command V, and copy. I didn't hear that, it broke up. Hello? You have a question? Yang, was that you? Could anyone hear that, or is it just me that I couldn't hear?
I think Isha was asking how did you duplicate?
Oh, thank you. Okay, how I duplicated. Let me do it again. I selected the whole piece and then I hold the Shift, Option, Command. And you see a plus comes on the, when I hold those three keys down, notice how my cursor turns white and there's a plus sign to it. So I click and drag. Oops, hold on. I accidentally unselected something. Select the whole thing, click and drag it down. And that duplicates it. So then I'm going to take, once I've made a copy, then I'm going to take and try with my first step, which is Pathfinder. So we're back up to the Pathfinder tools. And so we can look at minus the front. So if I want to see what happens if I take and just take the A and minus it out of in front of the pineapple, you know, that's what I get. That doesn't feel very organic though. So I'm going to take that off and say, what does it mean if we exclude? I don't think that's doing much for us either. That takes the shape of the pineapple away. Nope, we lose too much of the pineapple. Now you just get the left. I think what we might want to do is a combination. I'm going to zoom in, and that's Command plus. And I'm wondering if we do something that's a little different, as we do a little combination of things. So here's my A. I'm wondering if instead of having the whole letter be the pineapple, if instead maybe I use my direct select tool and take the counter out of my A and explore just shifting my pineapple into the A. What does that look like? I'm going to duplicate just the A so I can explore it before I decide if I want to do that or not. I come over here to Pathfinder and delete. And then I might be like, I'm losing too much of the frond. That's not going to work. But maybe I'm going to do a combination of things where I'm going to take this one and merge them. And then I'm going to take this one and layer it on top. Of my merged one. I got to zoom in, make sure I got these lined up correctly. So then it's giving me back to my whole pineapple. So you know, that idea of layering multiple things can be done as well. All right. So practicing the pen tool for drawing and using the Bezier curve, looking at the letter forms, understanding the difference between the selection tool and the direct selection tool are very important. Direct selection allows you to select the letter forms, manipulate the shapes. Also, you change or move a shape if we are going to do, something where you're adding changing the length of a leg or a stroke. But all of this has to be done once we're in outlines. Any questions? And I think that we're going to stop here and we can keep, we'll do another one. We're out of time, but we'll do another one next week as well as we'll keep going. But I think that's a good place to stop. And I'll stop the recording. Although I can't